So about freelance, what can I tell you? Except I've been freelancer for most of my adult life. I have actually only 3 months of working in a company, and I basically regret about those 3 months. So one thing about being freelancer is that certain freedom that you can get. And this is something that we freelancers love the most of it. How many freelancers are here today? Okay. Well, that freedom is actually freedom to make choices. So what can you choose? Sorry, Miha, how can I make it full screen?
It is full screen here.
Yes, but I would like to have preview over here.
Okay. No idea.
I have some notes, but
No idea.
can I try it? Like
Maybe.
not really.
Oh no, that
No.
doesn't help.
Okay, I'll try to.
Just turn it on.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. So you have freedom to choose your clients. We all know if you work for a big company like Nestle, it will suck your soul. Then they'll turn it into soft drink that is served on Masonic rituals. You don't want that. You'll rather work for a small company, something eco, green, local, something that will give you a bigger joy of your work. Same goes with the projects and technology that you use. For example, one of my colleagues had an iMac on which he was working at home, and then he got employed in a company where he was working on a Windows laptop. So that's not really what he expected, but this is how it goes. Same goes for working hours. Some of us like to work in the morning, some of us like to work in the evening, some of us work all night long and then sleep most of the day. You can choose that. And also workspace. If you're sick of sitting all day, you can build your own standing desk. You can also buy one in IKEA, but those are pretty wobbly, so I suggest you make something like this. This is one stable table. And if you can't stand it anymore, you can go traveling. In the winter or in the summer. You can take your family with you. So how many of you have kids? Okay, great. Rest of you, you don't have to worry. Migrants will come and they'll have children instead of you. Okay, with great freedom comes the great responsibility. So you have to be responsible to your clients to make job done, and you have to be responsible. Sorry, I skipped it. To yourself, to the government, you have to pay taxes, and there comes a lot of additional work. So it's not just what you do the best, but also things you have to do because you're on your own. So when you find clients, sometimes you want to keep them, sometimes you want to lose them. And if you go in a new project, you have to make good briefing. Without good briefing, you'd be pretty much lost. After the briefing, you have to create an offer, and then you probably should negotiate the price. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it might get hard. And then you should do a contract. Without the contract, you might get in trouble. And if you still can't collect your money, you'll have to engage the lawyer to make that for you. Or maybe some other kind of service. So far I just use lawyers, I didn't go for nothing else. And it doesn't look very easy, but still you'll have much more time comparing to other people that work in the companies. You can even start your own project. And this is the project that me, my wife, and a friend of ours started 2 years ago. Come on, Google. You can do it.
Click again.
Okay. Google.
face, guard. One guard. Art one guard.
Art who?
Artongard is a fictional character, but he's a true hero. Not as classy as James Bond, not as brave as Dick Tracy, nor as clever as Hercule Poirot. But he's on a big quest, he's got a heart, and he's a master of disguise.
The story is divided into 7 chapters, each one assembled out of 2 to 7 levels. Each level is a minigame in which you can experience several gameplays. Physics puzzles, top-down shooters, run-on games, and many combination of those.
Some levels contain clues or the items you need later, and some of them are just standing in your way. The flow is non-linear. Actually, this makes it directional, so you don't really need to hit all the levels, but for sure you're going to enjoy playing.
So yeah, we get with that to Game Founders Startup Accelerator in Estonia, and unfortunately we were rejected. So the friend of ours who was working in Nestle at the time also rejected the whole project and stopped answering emails or phone calls. We were kind of desperate, getting back to creating websites, tweaking WordPress, stuff like that. And I was trying to find a new programmer to do that, but it was not getting easy. So I was talking with one friend of mine who was programmer in Institute for Nuclear Technology, and he told me, "Oh, I just quit the job." I asked, "Oh, how come?" "I'll become a freelancer." I said, "Okay." He was much younger than me, so I thought, "Yeah, you know, it's not that easy. I'm a freelancer for years now. You have to find your clients. You have to deal with all that stuff that I mentioned earlier, making offers, engaging lawyers, stuff like that." He said, "Oh no, I'm not worrying about that. I become a freelance member, a freelance total member." Next slide, please. Just a moment. So, what's TopTal? TopTal is a service that's working with. Okay, so you don't have a tab just to click it. Oh, got it. Okay, TopTal says top 3%. Top 3% of developers that got applied, and it's not only top 3% of developers; it's also top maybe 3 or more, I don't know, of the clients you'll ever have. Because if the client decides to pay for a top developer, they will usually know why they're doing that. They will know what they want from those developers, and they will know how to explain it. So no more confusions on that field. And how does it work? Well, we're not all equal, you know that. Some countries are wealthier, some are not. Some have better education, some get worse. But it usually works that it connects developers from countries that are that has some middle standard of life, basically countries from the Central Europe, but they had pretty much good education that is still free. Maybe not today, but it was free, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And it connects those people with pretty wealthy clients that live in countries like United States or Western European countries. So in that difference of standards, developers get pretty good salary for the job they do, and the clients are also pretty satisfied because they got not cheap but economically pretty good price for that kind of labor. And what are the good sides of it? Choosing the engagements. There's a lot of engagements. There's a list of jobs that are available, and you can easily find the job that suits your skills and needs. You can find something that you love to do, something that you already done, so you're experienced with it, and you don't have to worry about making a brief, making a contract, anything. You just have to do it. Second best thing is setting the price. You set how much you want to get paid for your hour of your expertise. Next thing, the payment is guaranteed. Even if something went wrong with the client, TopTal will pay you, and then they will find a way to collect the money. And I usually take jobs that require one skill more than I usually know, so it's perpetual learning. You have chance to learn something new. And there's also pretty big community in Zagreb, and we have meetups there, something like meetups, and after that I'm usually vegetarian for next couple of days, sometimes anti-alcoholic also. And what's not that good about it is that you work in different time zones, so sometimes it's not that easy to find the right rhythm with the client, but most of the time you can turn it into advantage. So you work in shifts. When you're done with something, then the client came in, check what's have to be done next, and when you get to your computer again, you'll have everything ready. There are also some cultural differences, but they're not that big. We're all pretty familiar with American culture. Honestly, I didn't work with anyone else except citizens from the US, and there's also difference between East Coast, West Coast, and those landlocked states. One of my favorite cities for clients is Nashville. They're real gentlemen, and they're very kind and generous, honest. One really big problem is isolation. If you're a freelancer, you don't have to go to work every day, you don't have to shower that much, you don't interact with people so much, but you can always get involved in community, and you'll have enough time to spend it with your friends. The bigger question is, will your friends have time to spend it with you? And they say that if you sell your time for money, you'll never have enough time. This is not that true with TopTal. I have enough time for a project like this. We're renovating the house, and it's really time consuming. You have to deal with contractors that they're for a reason, there's a reason why they didn't get to the college, stuff like that. So it takes a lot of time. And if you're interested in becoming a TopTal member, there's a walkthrough that I prepared for you. So you have to apply, and after that you'll receive an initial call, usually on Skype. You can leave some other contacts, but Skype is mostly Skype and Slack. They are most used communication tools. After that, that's just some kind of, I don't know, English skills, checking the English skills and personality check. No one expects from you that you're super social or something. They're aware if you were social, you'll be chasing girls around, you'll not be sitting in front of your computer trying to learn new programming language or something like that. So they will set you an online exam. It's on Codirati.com. Did you heard about it? Codirati is a service that checks the skills. So you'll have a exam with 3 problems. You'll have 90 minutes to solve it. It's usually some basic problems, but somehow more complicated than those that you used to do on college or wherever. It's usually something to do with arrays, 2D, 3D. There was a problem with the logo turtle. Do you know what it is? Yeah, you have to make a pet for a turtle. You don't have, you're not able to cross that pet, stuff like that. Nothing too complicated. I can't remember what was the third one. Anyway, it's not too hard to pass, and after that there's a screening. That's the final exam when you share your screen, and after that, actually when you share your screen you have to solve the problem, and after that they'll decide, but it's also not that easy. The exam is actually a little bit easier than those three one that you'll be doing. And you're also allowed to use cheat sheets, but you'll have to know how to use them. It's not that you can go on Stack Overflow and look for the answer. And yes, those 3%. Why is 3%? The stats say if 33 of you now apply for the membership, only one of you will pass. This is not really true. This is because a lot of people applies, and there's a lot of people that are not really capable of that. And to be more sure, I prepared for you special link. So it's like RBS, like Ruby Slovenia. And if you check that link, then the lady from Hungary called Anna will know that you come from Ruby Slovenia Meetup, and they'll have different expectations for you, so you'll be sent a little bit quicker to exam and you'll have better chances to pass. So this is it. Thank you. If you have any questions, we can have a questions and answers later. Thank you.
Questions.
Any questions?
Yes?
I want to hear your experience with the lawsuits.
Oh, that was maybe 3 years ago. We were working for a company that makes installations for, I don't know, electricity, central heating, stuff like that, and they tried to expand to Kazakhstan, because at the time there was a big economic crisis in Croatia and rest of the Europe, but Kazakhstan didn't know anything about it. Their economy was growing and they were building a lot, and they wanted some kind of brochure, and actually a lot of stuff. It was brochure, some kind of flyer, stuff like that they will present in Kazakhstan. And it took a lot of time. I have to go photo shooting for, I don't know, like 5 days, some different buildings, and after that it took at least a week to create that brochure, like a catalog actually. And when it was all done, they went to Kazakhstan and never returned a call or an email again. And I actually went there and tried to talk with them. They were just, oh, well, why did you come? We can't answer you now, stuff like that. And then I engaged a lawyer. In maybe 2 months, it was all over. Their bank account was blocked, and that amount came on our bank account. It was pretty easy, actually. Anything else?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Do you mainly work with one client, or do you have multiple clients?
Mostly with one client at a time, but sometimes it happens that I think I was finished with one project and then the client says, hey, can you please do just a little bit more? So there's some periods, or maybe 1 week, when I have to work with multiple clients, but usually it's one client at a time.
And one more thing, is it easy to fill up your time, or is it...
Yes, actually, you can choose how much are you available. You can do full-time. This is usually 40 hours per week, but you can set it up till I think 60 if you're really workaholic. You can also choose part-time, that means half of that, 20 hours, and you can choose hourly, which means how many do you want to work, you just charge for it. I think that price for the client is always the same, just divide that number of hours with the salary.
How many jobs are available for you to choose from?
Right now, there's a big mess up because TopTal becomes also a service for designers, not just developers. And for the last 2 days, it was not working very well with the jobs, so it was displaying me only 6 jobs. Usually it's around 150. I usually work HTML, CSS, JavaScript, sometimes a little bit of Python or Ruby, but just basic stuff. And of course design, UI, UX, stuff like that.
How do you charge? How do you set the price? Do you negotiate with the clients or do
You decide. Yes, you set with TopTal what's your price for your hour of work. That's it.
So you negotiate with TopTal or directly?
No, you can choose it. You can set it really high, but then you might have problem with finding a client. Yeah. But I'm not sure what are the salaries in Slovenia for stuff like that, but it's much higher than the salaries in Croatia. Let's say 3 to 4 times. Yeah.
So one more question about those exams. Are one exam fits every programmer or designer, or they have special exams?
For designers, you have to have a good portfolio. For front-end developers, you don't have to solve all 3 problems. At least that was a year and a half ago when I was going. It was enough to solve 1 problem completely and start those 2, and then you'll have to do additional work of creating a front end for some kind of sketch. It was like some kind of fake TopTal site that you have to make interactive. Those 3 exams for developers are, it's always not for everyone, but it's about same kind of problems, but you can choose your language. There's a lot of languages from, I don't know, JavaScript to Ruby, Python, PHP, I don't know what else, but there's a lot of languages.
So does TopTal have you set the price based on your expertise?
No, you set your price on your own, but as I said, there's a problem. If you set your price too high, then it would be harder to find clients that are willing to pay that. It's not good to set a too low price, because then you'll not seem, you won't be looking like a good developer or designer, like someone who's just started with it.
Yeah, that's the reason why I asked whether the TopTal caps you at setting the proper price.
No, I guess if you pass the exams, you're good enough, and then you choose your price.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.